Get back on the pitch on Friday night. How did you enjoy that?
It was good. It's good to be back in. Obviously picked up a wee small injury against Dunfermline, and just didn't want to rush back, so make sure everything was okay for obviously the playoffs coming up. But no, it was good to get back out there and get a run out for 60 minutes at Hampden. So no, it was good.
Obviously, the result wasn't the biggest sort of concern for us. It was more about using it to be prepared for Tuesday. Do you feel that we got out of it what we were looking for?
Yeah, obviously you've got your pride. You want to win every game you play in, no matter what. But as you said, the main objective was to get a run out for certain boys that need minutes, and everyone to just come out the game injury free. And we played some alright stuff as well. Obviously the goals, we know ourselves, weren't our best, but as you said, everything that was the plan to happen kind of happened on Friday.
I guess it means we've had a remarkable season to have come up for the first time in such a long time, and not just stay up but be in the promotion playoffs at the end is a tremendous achievement. But knowing you guys, knowing Rhys, knowing the sort of the feeling around the club, there won't be anyone who's just satisfied with that. You'll be going into these playoffs just to attack them and see what we can get out of them, right?
Yeah, definitely. We've obviously earned the right to be in them. It's not as if we got here by fluke. We've played well all season, first season up, but we've played with confidence, and then coming out the games, like obviously people wrote us off thinking we wouldn't be up here challenging, so you could say it's a free hit, but we know we've played Partick 4 times this season. There's not much between the two teams, so we'll be just as confident as every other game to go through, and then obviously hopefully get through that. You've got Rhys, we've played them plenty of times, we know what they can do, and then obviously going into the final. But yeah, you take each leg as it comes, but we're obviously quietly confident going into the games. You
talked about Partick Thistle. They've, just like us, had a very, very good season. They're finished third, deservedly so, because they've done very, very well and kind of consistently from the kind of start of the season right the way through. What sort of match are you expecting from them, given that the 2 games certainly here were quite tight affairs?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a tough game, very tough for a top side. They've got really good players, especially in the front end, with like Graham and Fitzpatrick and stuff like that. They've got real quality. But as I said before, we know our qualities as well. So we just need to play our game and try and obviously nullify their attacks. But we're expecting a tough, tight game over the 2 legs.
2 teams that were in playoffs last year as well. Ours went very, very well, as we know. Partick Thistle got all the way to the final and just fell short at the very, very end. So both teams with playoff experience. Will that be something that we can use, that we can go to in terms of trying to get ourselves through the round that we've been through playoffs quite consistently for a number of seasons now? Yeah,
you obviously play on your experiences before. Airdrie, I wasn't at Airdrie for the last few, but they've been at playoffs for the last 4 or 5 years, so we know what it takes. And obviously last year we managed to get it done and get through. Same with Partick. Last year they were looking for redemption after last year. Really should have went up last season. So they'll want to come back and get up this season. So they'll have their experiences from it as well. So it'll be 2 teams that have been there, done it. So it'll be as I said, it'll be a tight game between the 2 of us.
I suppose that playoff experience probably tells us that it's unlikely to be finished going into the Friday night, the Tuesday night game. I mean, okay, we could do what we did last season and have the first leg quite comfortably wrapped up, but I imagine you're expecting it'll be 2 testing legs.
Yeah, it'll be. Obviously, I'd love to have the first leg last year against Falkirk. That would have been great, but no, can't see that happening as much as I would love it to happen. But yeah, I can see 2 tight teams. The 2 tight games, that it's going to be going down to the very end, I think.
Your own season, I suppose there's been a couple of injury interruptions in it that you've had to come back from and contend with, but how much have you enjoyed the season overall? Or can you afford to look back at it yet?
Yeah, you can obviously look back just now, and it's obviously been very frustrating for me as a personal point of view, with obviously the injury and the surgery and stuff like that. But first half of the season was enjoying it, playing, and then I got the injury. But watching it for the sides, it's probably more frustrating watching it for the sides than actually being a part of it. But as I just said at the very start, it's been a great season for everyone. It's been a real feel good. We've got into the first season of the championship, we've got into the playoffs, and we've won a cup as well. So for that point of view, it's been excellent. But as you said, it's not finished yet.
Well, we'll go on to Tuesday and see what we can get out of that. Cammy, thank you very much.
No worries.
Rhys, Friday night, I suppose we didn't get the result we were looking for, but we got what we wanted out of the exercise in terms of minutes in the legs, and no one got injured or suspended. So we can take the positives from that into Tuesday, which I guess is a game that you're really, really looking forward to now.
Of course, like you said, Friday probably wasn't ideal in terms of our preparations for a game on Tuesday, but with to try and kind of manage the squad, make sure, like you said, we get through all unscathed, and everyone did that. We managed to get some minutes as well into some boys, good for wee Murray Aitken and stuff to come back in, get some minutes after a long period of doubt. So there was a few positives. I know the result obviously it went against us, but in terms of the overall exercise, in terms of preparation, we've managed to get a few positives out of it.
Partick Thistle, certainly the games here were very, very close games, a victory and a draw. I imagine then going into Tuesday, whether the playoffs are a different experience or not, you're expecting that to be a difficult, tight game.
Of course, and they have been all year. Even the last result, give the kind of the first 45-50 minutes was really, really close. Both teams kind of had opportunities and chances, and I'd imagine, like you said, a wee bit more pressure and more stakes on the game. Kind of Tuesday and Friday will be the same, but it's one that, like you said, it's a fresh slate. You go out there, that result that happened obviously is past. Partick likewise come off the back of a loss there as well, so it's not like you're going up against a team who's 10 wins in a row or something like that. So they've kind of done very similar to us in terms of used their squad and tried to get kind of certain boys some minutes and resting a few boys as well. So it should be an entertaining game, like you said, over the kind of two legs. Really looking forward to it. The boys in there certainly are.
Two teams with kind of contrasting playoff experience last season, both getting all the way, and Thistle fall short. We obviously know how well it went for us, and we were speaking to Cammy Ballantyne about that experience of being through the playoffs before stands us in good stead going into this fresh batch.
Of course, now obviously it's a slightly different format for the one that we had real success in, but it's more the occasion, the kind of intense atmosphere and kind of pressure that you put amongst yourselves as a group, staff, the club. We've had a wee bit of kind of positive success with that, so we've kind of harnessed that for the last 3-4 weeks when we knew we were going to be kind of secure playoffs. That was the kind of the end goal. Now it's about preparations for that, and you'd like to think through experience. We've got a lot of boys in the squad there that tasted a bit of success with that as well. Some of the new lads, some of the younger lads as well, might be their first time. So it's important as a group that we try and kind of manage expectations, manage the occasion. Nothing's going to be won or lost, and certainly the first 30-45 minutes, or likewise the first game. You know, it's over two legs, and mentally, for me certainly, it's the biggest thing. You know, anyone in a game of football, anything can happen. We can't control the result, but you've got a good chance over the course of two legs. So theoretically, 2 90-minute games should determine who's the better side, or who's executed game plans and stuff to the best. So for us, it's just about using, if we can lean on past experiences, great. But ultimately, it's a different format. You know, it's going to be quite grueling if you get kind of progress and you get to the next stage, and then ultimately a tougher test each time. So listen, you've just got to take one game as it comes and at a time. As I know is probably not what you want to hear, but we've got to just focus on Tuesday. We then assess everything after the game. We've got a quick turnover obviously to then the Friday, so the biggest thing then will be obviously getting boys in, recovery, sleep, all these things to make sure that we have a good opportunity to go in and progress. And then, like you said, if you progress, you're onto the same kind of schedule the following week. So it is intense, it's grueling, it's almost another round of fixtures if you go all the way. So, and you've got to remember the kind of mental pressure, the atmosphere, everything on top of that. So hopefully it's not just kind of 1 or 2 games and that's the end of it. You're looking for potentially another few anyway.
I suppose, I wonder, has it helped knowing that we had the playoffs secured as early as we did and we had those spare games? Has that given you the kind of time that you would have liked to have had versus the possibility of it going all the way to the last day?
Well, of course I would rather have been there with games to spare, so of course that's a big plus for us. like you said, it's a tough one, because especially through the winter months and you get so many games and stuff called off, and you've always got a kind of backlog of fixtures and pile up and stuff, and especially I remember going up to Arbroath not that long ago, and it was a rearranged fixture, and the conditions and stuff, and what you don't see is, yes, it's a game of football and everyone can go and give you 90 minutes, but you've got to take into consideration the travel and your preparation in terms of that week. When you've not got a game, you've got to make sure that you're still doing enough. Certain boys obviously get certain minutes, you manage training loads and stuff, so ultimately all that hard work, you're now seeing the rewards for it. You're into a playoff, so it's almost, I see it as a separate competition. You know, we've done the hard bit. The objective from our point of view was, listen, we can challenge into the playoff, certainly from what I'd seen early on. We'd done that with games to spare, so that was really pleasing. And then, listen, we looked at it's no that Partick that finished above us in the league. It's we're looking at it, we've achieved our goal. We're now going into a format and playoffs that, listen, we take each game as if it was the first game of the season or as if it was a cup final. It's one of these ones where we assess, we look, and we see what's trying to obviously get us the result.
We spoke during the season. We spoke to Adam Frizzell in here, and he was saying that he felt we should be in the playoffs. That his assessment was that we were good enough to do that, and if we didn't get there, he'd be disappointed. So, can you? Obviously, we've met that barometer. Can you afford to look back over the season yet and kind of assess how we've done and analyse it and feel satisfaction from meeting that objective, or are you still focusing on what's ahead of us, because obviously it's a huge chance to try and promotion back to back?
Again, probably no in detail. It will not be till the kind of season finishes and everyone goes away in the summer break that you can properly sit back and assess where you are. Like I said, we said that at the start of the year. What we knew quality wise that we had in there, it was about kind of managing that first round of fixtures. Let's get a wee feel for everyone, and in terms of as a group where we know we're at. And as Frizz rightfully said, you know, we come across some good teams and teams that have been there, Partick, Rhys, Dundee United and stuff, and we put in really good performances, so we knew the level of performance was there. And you probably rewind the footage, it was always, for me, it's about consistency. You know, when we're on it, we're a really, really good side, very young side as well, so I think we've matured as the seasons went on. I think we've managed to kind of manipulate certain situations, whereas in the past we'd have maybe not done so well. So great, but listen, for me, in my point of view, I probably won't, if I'm honest, because like you said, I've not got really time to sit for a few weeks and really assess things. As constantly what's the next thing, and that future planning and planning ahead and kind of trying to be one step ahead is always something that's on the kind of tip of my mind. So listen, but we will enjoy it regardless. In terms of getting to the playoffs and stuff, we knew as a group, I certainly knew from what I've seen in here and having played myself in the league and League One, how well they've done and how well we can play football. I knew it was definitely an achievable objective, but ultimately it's up to the boys to go and kind of produce and get there. So the full credit has to go to them. They've managed to give themselves a chance to put themselves in and amongst it, which at the start of the season, if you're asked that, of course everyone would have been delighted, but like you said, for me it's not about just getting there and being content. It's about, let's go there, we've achieved what we want, but listen, we want to try and get bigger and better.
In terms of the squad availability then, obviously Josh and Liam can't take part with us, but other than that, more or less a fully fit squad, it would seem. Everyone seems to have come through Friday night okay, and I can't really think, other than yourself, of anyone who's kind of carrying any injuries.
Aye, that's what, again, going back to the Queen's Park game, yes, it's disappointing with the result, but the bigger picture, you look at Murray Aitken, for example, Cammy and Frizz have come back after a week or so's rest, just feeling kind of probably a wee bit more fatigued, which has caused a bit of injury. And like I said, the kind of gruelling fixture, especially the second part of the season, has probably contributed to that. So it's really important that we manage the squad. We managed to get some young boys in, like Ali Spalding, for example, who over the course of the season in the reserves and in training as a young kid's been exceptional. He's done really, really well, so he merited that kind of reward to go and play. But like you said, apart from the major injuries which we already knew about, everyone's kind of come back and gives us a good headache to have, more kind of bodies available, which is great. And listen, we're good to go. We'll assess it. I wouldn't be surprised come Tuesday after the game. There's a few niggles or a few bumps, and that's part of football. So you've just got to kind of manage it as best we can.
Especially given how gruelling the players will be if we were to go all the way through it. It's like you said, it's a hell of a lot of games, and
Of course.
quick turnaround. So having those bodies available, you're going to need them. You've always said it's a squad game, and you're going to need them here.
Of course, listen, it's I don't know how it sounds to someone on the outside, but for me, it's you look at football nowadays, and if you were to rely on the same 11 for 90 minutes every week, eventually you get a blowout, and you pick up injuries, and then when you're asked to be called upon from the side, you're not up to speed, you're not sharp. So it is important that we assess the game. Each game's different, each game poses its different threats, and we look at each game about what we can do to go and impose ourselves on another team, which might be different from a Partick Thistle to someone like Arbroath. Each kind of team has their strengths and weaknesses. We try and exploit them and come up with a game plan as best we can, and we utilise the squad. And so often throughout the season, you look, probably, I don't know exactly what the stats are, the first time you'll catch me out, as how many times someone from the bench who's maybe not started the game has come on and contributed, whether that's a goal, an assist, or changed the dynamic of the game. So I am really big on that, because like I said, I think the kind of days of just a starting 11, you're a regular starter, are kind of dead and gone. It's more a case of sometimes at certain moments in the game, momentum changes. You've seen that in the last game that we played Partick, the momentum changed after they got the first goal. So really important that we use the squad. Everyone kind of understands that. The main thing is trying to be open and honest, trying to explain that to the boys, that they don't then go in the huff and feel frustrated that they're not playing. So listen, I think they've been excellent so far, and that's one thing that I'd like to say. I think more than fair, and if boys want to come, my door's open in terms of they can come, they can speak to me, we explain things, and we sit through them, we come to a kind of mature and we have an adult conversation about it, and that might not be the case come the following game. So really important, as you said, potentially a really kind of testing time in terms of fixtures and kind of backlog and stuffy games with Tuesday, Friday. So we've got to make sure that we just focus on Tuesday, we get through it, we then assess, and then we have a game plan obviously going forward.
What about yourself? How's your fitness?
So again, probably going to be unlikely. Now I'm trying obviously my best, but obviously for the time when I'd injured it at the cup final, I knew I've kind of torn my calf. So it was one of the ones that time frame was always going to be the issue in terms of can I get enough training and can I get back to really test it. So done a little bit on Tuesday, again felt a slight bit of aggravation, so I've got to make sure that I'm hammering the gym work and hammering the stuff to strengthen it, and hopefully be available whatever capacity. If not, I've no issues at all. The boys that have stepped in there when I've been playing have been tremendous, so no issues whether I'm fit or not.
Well, we'll move on to Tuesday then, and we'll see you there. Rhys,
Thank you.
very
Cheers.
much.